and if anybody is going to come in straight away to speak, please turn your cameras off and your mics and then put them on when you speak. Okay. Welcome to everybody. Nice to see everybody here at the Dorchester Joint Markets Informal panel. I'm Molly Rennie. I'm chair of the committee and the vice chair is Jill Haynes. I'm just going to read out a bit of a statement. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the councils have had to put in place measures to enable the council's decision-making process to continue and to keep staff, councillors and members of the public safe. The government guidance allows holding committee meetings remotely. The meeting, remember, is live streamed and recorded and anybody can look at it on the website straight after the meeting. Could members please use the chat bar and write in RTS, right to speak, because I can't, now you're turned off, I can't always catch up with everybody. I will try to give you a thumbs up to let you know that I have seen that you're in the chat bar, but anybody who I miss, please can you just let me know. I won't be able to see raising hands at all for everybody, so we'll do our best as we go along. I don't know if the vice chairman is here yet either.
Oh, I am.
Oh, lovely, Jill. Thank you.
Sorry, I was just typing in the chat bar. I've got dodgy internet today. It goes up and down.
Oh, right, okay. This is the problem of everybody, not just us being in this meeting, it's everybody else who is using this connection for the council at the same time. I'm going to just go through the panel members in order I've got them typed down, just so as we're sure everybody's here, and also the officers. Could you, when you speak for the first time, perhaps introduce yourself and say if you're a town council or a Dorset council and where you represent, and that would be helpful to any public who may be watching. I'm here and Jill's here, I've heard her. Jean Dunseith?
Yes, present, Molly.
Thank you. Simon Gibson?
Present, Chairman.
Thank you. Nick Ireland?
Yeah, I'm here.
Lovely, thank you. Jane Somper, we've seen.
Yeah, I'm here.
Dave Bolwell, seen.
Here, Chair.
John Worth.
Here, Chairman.
Thank you. Roland Tarr, I think, has sent his apologies. Alistair Chisholm. No. Susie Hosford.
Yes, here, Chairman.
Thank you. Janet Hewitt.
Here, Chairman.
Thank you. Tony Lyle.
Yes, here, Chairman.
Thank you. And Robin Potter.
Yes, here. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. The officers we've got with us are Adrian Stewart, the Town Clerk, Graham Duggan, Head of Community and Public Protection, Bill Wilberforce from Estates, Karen Punchard, Corporate Director for Place, Chris Evans, Service Manager for Finance, Kevin Evans for Senior Accounts, Lara Attry, the Solicitor. The other officers, Lee Johnson's producing, Isla Mitchell is producing, and Dave is our Democratic Officer. And the other members attending, we have Councillor Stella Jones and Ray Bryan. Thank you very much. We'll just go straight into the meeting. Apologies, please, David.
Yes, Chairman. One apology from Councillor Roland Tarr.
Thank you very much. Minutes of the previous meeting that you've had, meeting was held on the 16th of December. I think I'll just say the page numbers. Page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9. Sorry, somebody said something. No. Page 9 and page 10. And the report as a whole, is everybody happy? Good.
Agreed.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder?
Yeah, I'll second, Molly.
Oh, I thought you'd said agreed, Jill. Could I have a seconder?
I'll second that, Molly.
Thank you very much. With Jane Somper and Councillor Jill Haynes proposed and seconded. Thank you very much. Declarations of interest. Does anybody have any declarations of interest? Bill, do you think you could turn your camera off? Everybody can see you sorting.
Oh, okay.
It's very nice to see you. And your camera. Because people are struggling with it. Thank you. People are struggling with the bandwidth today. No declarations of interest? Public participation. We've got 3 comments that David will read out. I think you have probably had one or all of them. I'm not sure what you've had because I don't know quite where everything goes. Thank you. David, could you read them out one by one, please?
Yes, Chairman, are you happy that I read them out?
Yes, please.
Yes. The first statement received is from an Anita Casu and says, "Dear panel, with regard to the next meeting of the Dorchester Markets Informal Panel on Wednesday, 27th of January, I'd like to submit the following question statement as a Dorchester resident and frequent customer of the market. Following the recent meeting in December, it's good to hear there is a renewed appetite amongst the panel to breathe new life into the market and rebuild its resilience after COVID-19. As you look to enhance the market as a community destination and reverse its long-term ailing performance, there are many citizens and local residents like myself who would dearly love to be involved in helping you achieve this. To this end, I would like to propose more direct involvement and input from customers who use the market. Just like all of you, we love Dorchester Market. It makes us weep with the angels to see how the market has been neglected and badly managed for so long, and we are just so grateful for the wonderful traders who have persevered. We know the market could be a jewel in Dorchester's crown, not only sustaining itself, but growing and expanding to provide much needed employment opportunities for new traders, budding entrepreneurs, and local producers. As part of the governance structure of the market, it is important for the community to have a voice in its future strategy and its day-to-day operation. I know you have sought input from traders previously to help shape decision making. I would like to invite you to seek similar input more from customers and local residents as take steps to enter the next phase of the market's planning and management. We want a market we can be proud of. After several years of decline that has been exacerbated by coronavirus, our input involvement can help galvanise momentum and accelerate the turnaround of the market. By involving customers and citizens at this stage, we want to work with you to realise its full potential, economic development and entrepreneurship, of course, but also community wellbeing and social value. How can we get involved? That's the question in there, and I look forward to your comments and feedback.
Thank you very much, David. So we won't be debating this because it is just a question and it's been sent in under public participation. But I'd like us to keep this in mind, and David will be able to read it out or put it up for us when we have our task and finish type meeting later on, because it's lovely when somebody's offering some sort of support for us. And basically, I think the words she's using describe what I know as focus groups. So wonderful that the members of the public want to be involved and help us on this journey as we go forward. So we'll discuss that later. Thank you. The next one, please, David.
Yes, the second statement received by myself is from John Calvert. I'm a resident of Dorchester living near to the Fairfield car park, and over the last 10 years, I've seen the market grow and contract every year with the seasons. The constant impression I have is that large vegetable stores and extensive plant and shrub stores have been the most important part of the Wednesday market's attraction to locals and to visitors. I'm a bit dismayed that in item 9, the town clerk talks of all the advantages of Thornhill site, but it finishes by saying lamely that it won't house the larger stores. Is the Joint Markets Committee trying to replace the real variety of the Fairfield market with a bric-a-brac market, which will attract? And that's from John.
Thank you. You were breaking up a little bit at the end. Thank you, Mr. Calvert, if you're on the line as well. Again, we won't comment apart from to say no. We won't be, but we will discuss this a lot further. But please be reassured, we're not, I don't think that that's at all what the town clerk was implying within his comments. But we will be writing to Mr. Calvert as well following the meeting. Thank you.
And the third statement, it's what Brendan George would have said had he been able to attend the meeting, and it was addressed to Bill Wilberforce in the first instance, drawn to your attention as well. So, dear Bill, I was hoping to get your meeting on 27th of January, but find that it is not now possible. Unfortunately, the whole of the current year has been a disaster for most retailers, and during the 2 lockdown periods, we have really been keeping open as a service to the community. Goodness knows when we will ever get back to some form of normality. However, normality has not been very great in the last years. Gradual decline and big shakeout in retail as a whole, and store markets in particular. As you're well aware, over the years of store market decline, we have constantly put forward one scheme after another of improvements, which we were prepared to finance ourselves to try to modernise and improve the market, but none have been accepted or encouraged. Retail trends have been hard to keep up with, and quite possibly the large retail store markets that we enjoyed in the 80s and 90s have gone forever. We have faced this fact at Wimborne Market, and are at the present time in the process of selling our 4 3/4 acre town site for high density residential development, and applying to the local authority to further develop the Wimborne Showground on the fringe of the town, which we own. We consider a new style of country market together with shows and events, including large antique fairs and even very large car boot sales, is what the general public are interested in at the present time. As far as Dorchester is concerned, the founder of our firm, Thomas Enser, is the man who has been credited with having played a major part in founding the market on its present site in about 1850. We have a long, proud association with the market, which we do not want to see end in 5 years or so, and for Dorchester, county town of Dorset, to lose its market, apart from a handful of stores at the top end of High Street. If Dorchester is to continue as a major market town, large investment will be needed to the old cattle market site to make it appeal to modern trends. We would need to know that we have got long-term security by preferably purchasing the freehold of the market site together with the long lease of the Royal Charter. This could be a one-off opportunity to revive Dorchester as the largest and leading market in the south and west of England, as by the end of 2021 we could be in a position to move our large antique centre and inside store market together with a number of our outside traders from Wimborne to Dorchester, which we visualise would be a 7 days a week revolving market and event centre. We would hope that this would bring with it thousands of holiday makers to the town. Facts are that the days of the very profitable large store markets have gone, and I'm afraid that the joint councils are not going to receive net income from their markets, but the traders of the town could greatly benefit from a thriving market attraction and event centre. I would be grateful if you could put this letter before committee, and I will be pleased to meet with you to discuss and supply you with further information. Brendan George.
Thank you very much. And if Brendan or John George are on the line, thank you for their comments. I think there's no way we can fully discuss everything that's within this, but it will be really useful to lead and develop our discussions that we have later, because they're actually telling us how they'd like to work in the future and their thoughts on the future of markets as well. So I think we all will find this really useful when we move into our second half of the meeting. And we will be in contact with all 3 people. Thank you very much indeed. Is David, is Grant here?
It's my understanding he's showing in participants.
Right. Grant, would you like to put your screen on and turn your microphone on? We've got Grant Jones with us from Cornhill Market at the top of South Street, and he's going to explain to us how they're working and how it's working at this moment in time. Grant.
Right. Well, thank you all for letting me come on today, Councillor Molly.
Nice to see you, Grant.
Sorry?
I said, nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, this climate, we're not able to work because of the COVID scenario.
Yeah.
We don't have any essential stores apart from the fruit store. And to physically open the market just for the fruit store wouldn't be good business-wise, due to the fact we'd have to be paying a full rent on the whole plot. So that wouldn't work in our favour. But I have inquiries at the moment for about another 20 odd traders that want to come on as soon as the COVID scenario is over.
Okay.
Which we're hoping is at the, well, beginning of March, hopefully, but we never know, do we? But ongoing, it's been a hard year for us. It really has. You know, we've had one major lockdown, a little lockdown, and then this major lockdown. So we have lost a fair few traders because they were surviving on just as their main wage. So, but luckily we have inquiries now, as I said, which is very good for us.
Has Grant, have you frozen?
I'm not sure what's happening. It's not very good at the moment. My reception is awful. So
We can still hear you.
no, my reception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm losing.
Your reception.
It's intermittent, isn't it?
I'll try logging back in. Sorry.
Yeah, you're here.
Yes. Your microphone's off, Grant.
I'm going to turn myself off as well, so Grant's got the full.
Just say, Grant, if you are trying to speak, your microphone's muted.
Is that any better? Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
That's what we need.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so going forward, it's looking quite rosy with the amount of inquiries we've got with people. And I'm hoping that the future's bright for us. But obviously, we're actively looking for more traders, but there's nothing we can do at this precise moment in time while we're under this lockdown scenario, unfortunately. And I was going to ask if we could arrange some sort of meeting just with Bill Wilberforce and the relevant parties to see if we can speak any more about this.
Bill, do you want to make a comment, or Graham? Would either of you like to make a comment about that?
Hello. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, obviously that's extremely welcome news. You know, with all the bad news we've had, the thought that the market can have a resurgence as quickly as that is just what everyone wants to know, I think.
And Bill, would you be happy to put together and do an invitation for a meeting with Grant?
Yes, of course, yeah. And
that would be good, and perhaps Graham and Adrian.
Yeah, certainly.
Grant, would that be what you were hoping for?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to discuss with the relevant parties, see how we can move on forwards with this, especially under this climate that we're in.
Yeah. That's good.
And maybe we can involve Simon Tyler as well, my business partner with the market.
Yeah. I think Bill will contact you to get that all pulled together.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Then no doubt the chairman and the vice chairman, Bill will come, or Graham will come back to us and let us know the outcome and where we are with it.
Okay, that's
I'll update you.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's really good news that you still have people who want to come to you, because I know how well thought of the Cornhill market is, and people like the difference that different days you have different stall holders coming. So that's lovely that they still want to stay with you and still want to come back. I think
we've got a very
sorry, Grant.
We have a very loyal customer fan base with our traders, which is good. And it is, unfortunately, a lot of them's only source of income at this precise moment in time as well. So the sooner that we can get back, the better.
Most certainly. I think we have to wait for Boris, though, Grant.
Unfortunately, yes.
Do any members have, in the chat bar, Jill has said, very positive, Grant, good to hear from you. And Graham's pointed out he's happy to have a meeting with you, as has Karen Punchard as well. So that's good. Has anybody got any questions they wish to ask Grant? No,
well, perhaps I have actually.
Bill,
does Grant feel that the new applicants can all be accommodated within the space that we currently provide?
I'm hoping so, Bill. Yes, but I mean, we would be progressively actively looking for some more spaces if we can achieve that in the near future.
Yeah, because we have touched on that in the past, haven't we? Going
Definitely.
back about 18 months or so, and yeah. So okay, well, we can look into that.
That would be wonderful.
and of course, for the members who don't know where the site where Grant is, and not all the traders all come on every day, because they go to different places sometimes on different days.
That's correct, yes. I mean, we try and vary it. I mean, the mainstays are myself, that's there every day for the 6 days, and the fruit and veg are there 3 days a week. Then the rest we try and vary as much as humanly possible.
So that's really interesting. Nobody's put their hand up to speak or asked for a right to speak. So, Grant, thank you very much for coming, and I hope that this achieved as well what you hope for out of this meeting. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, it's been. Thank you very much for your support, all of you, and look forward to seeing Bill and Adrian in some sort of meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see.
And we look forward to seeing you outside Boots.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Finance report. Is that Kevin?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. The purpose of this finance report is just to provide the panel with an overview of the projected outturn for this 2021 current year, and also to approve the budget proposals for 2021-22. There is an attached Appendix 1 that will support all the figures highlighted in the report. So if I start on the projected outturn for 2021, so if we're looking at our expenditure first, the current projected expenditure is forecast to be marginally over the budget at the moment. We're looking at a potential cost of £44,118 against a budget of £41,958. The main reason behind this is this slight increase is due to electricity costs, of which there is no specific budget line attached to these costs. This has been addressed in the proposed budget for 21-22. The projected outturn for the expenditure does include full spend of the R&M budget of 19,600. Now, what happened in previous years is that any unspent R&M budget got transferred at year end to the specific R&M reserve. So although current actuals R&M is at a very low level, we are working on the same assumption that that will happen at the end of this year, in that all unspent budget will go into the specific R&M ring fence reserve. If I move on to paragraph 1.2 on the income, I do apologise because there's a slight discrepancy on figures in this paragraph, because in the report they pick up the net income where they should be looking at the gross income. So if you just I'll just clarify this in conjunction with the appendix. So the net income, the gross income budget at the moment is 165,198, and we're currently forecasting a gross income of 123,648, so approximately £42,000 surplus of income. Now, the majority of that relates to loss of income from the market operators contract, which is the ENSOS contract, and we can assume that most of that will be due to the COVID-19 pandemic. ENSOS have supplied us with management account information up to the end of November 2020, which indicate a potential income to the panel across both the market operators contract and a car boot of £33,500. That's against a net income budget of £69,000 on those lines. We are assuming at this stage that other rental income, such as for the Cornhill and Cafe, are assumed to be on budget at this stage, although there are some invoices outstanding associated with these other elements. At ENSO's request, it's been agreed that the monthly invoices that Dorset Council issue them for their payments on account will reduce from £5,000 per month, which has been the case in the year to date so far, to nil for the remainder of 2021. Payments would then revert to £3,000 per month from April 2021 and will be reviewed there onwards. The reason for the reduction to nil at this stage is because, in theory, we're going to, once we get to the end of the financial year, it's highly likely that due to the projected income levels, we will actually need to issue credit notes or refunds, depending on the situation, as we've been invoicing at £5,000 per month to date until now. There is a projected charge on the income lines of £4,800 against the farmers market line. Now, this is due to 100% bad debt provision for unpaid invoices relating to 2018-19 and 2019-20. So the income for these two invoices would have been included on the outturn to the panel in the year they were raised, but because they're highly likely to go bad, they're shown as a charge this year. Overall, this means that as our latest projection would indicate, a sum available for distribution to the panel is forecast to be £79,530. That's against a net budget of £123,240. The relevant shares of this split would be Dorset Council would receive £46,722 against a budget of £67,821. Dorchester Town Council would be £25,158 against a budget of £36,519, and transferred into the car boot reserve would be £7,650 against a budget of £18,900. Moving on to the proposed budget for 21-22. At a very high level, it's very similar to what the current budget is for the current 2021 year. It goes without saying that it's very tricky in the current climate to know exactly where we'll be next year, and it's sort of anyone's guess at what the market conditions associated with COVID is likely to be throughout 21-22. So the proposed expenditure budget is 43,968. That's a slight increase on the current budget because it's allocating a specific line against electricity costs this year. The proposed income budget for next year would be 165,165. That is a standstill budget against the current budget, with a slight tweak, ever so slight reduction on the car park line, but all other income lines are the same as the current year. That would mean there'd be a budgeted surplus for distribution of 121,197, with Dorset Council due 66,493, Dorchester Town Council 35,804, and a budgeted top up to the car boot reserve of £18,900. Okay.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments? I think all of us in our hearts knew that this was going to be the case, and the recharge coming back was going to be this low. it's a bit more positive looking for next year again. And I'll say that same comment. Depends what Boris lets us do, and if people behave themselves and are careful. I've got. I'm sorry, I've done something with my screen. Jill, I've got Councillor Haynes with her hand up. Jill, would you like to make a comment, please?
Yes, thank you, Molly. Yes, I would. I think actually, all things considered, this is possibly as positive as we could have expected. I'm quite surprised that the markets actually did manage to make that kind of income, considering the lockdown that we had and you know, the social distancing that we've had to deal with. So it's been a particularly difficult year for everybody, but actually I'm very grateful for all of those people who continued to create a market and man the stalls and the people who went there to use it. Again, Kevin, that was a very helpful run through, and I'd like to say thank you to you as well, Kevin, for your help in sorting this out for us.
Thank you.
I see that Robin Potter has agreed with you as well. Oh, lots of people are going agree. So thank you very much. I'm not going to leave this item completely yet because I know people want to talk about the Linneys. Kevin, thank you very much, and thank you to everybody who's been involved this year. Jill is quite right. A lot of thanks are needed to everybody who was able to turn out, and how nice that we can be this positive. We understand exactly what the situation, and it has been cheery. I know we've got members who go to the market every week, and they've been really pleased when they were able to go and get their veggies, if nothing else. So thank you, and thank you, Kevin, for a very clear and succinct report to somebody who finds accounts hard to work their head around. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Jill, were you proposing we agree this budget, and Robin, were you seconding?
I certainly was proposing, Molly, thank you.
Yes, happy to second.
Thank you very much indeed. All in favour? Just a group yes will do?
Yes.
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 Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Kevin, would you like to talk about the Linneys and explain probably about whose responsibility it is, because we have a lot of new members, and the relationship between Dorset Council as the owners of the land and the market can, and maybe Bill might be able as well to help with this. This relationship is difficult to get your head around.
Yeah, could I actually call on Bill's help on this one? I'm afraid I think he might be in a better position to advise on this one.
Yeah, well, the Linneys are a bone of contention, really, because they haven't really fulfilled any real purpose in recent years. I think some officers want, or there was some idea to remove them, but they couldn't be because they're in a conservation area, and the
Bill, Molly, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Bill will need to explain to some people here even what the Linneys are.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay, right. Well, the old market, which was an outdoor and a covered market area, had, in addition, a line of pan-tiled sort of little stores along two sides. So you had the North Linneys and the South Linneys, and they're, I suppose, used for putting bicycles in, storing stuff. The market does use them actually, and in actual fact, they're within the lease area to Ensors, so they're actually very much a part of the market area. Unfortunately, because of their construction and because of people who enter the site to have fun and meet and socialise, quite a lot of times the Linneys have been vandalised. So they're quite expensive to repair, and also, of course, they are deteriorating. And we've just had to remove one of the roofs of the Linneys, one part of the Linneys, because it just completely collapsed. So they're a big expenditure item. We have got CCTV, although I understand it doesn't work that well, and there has been talk of replacing it. But anyway, there isn't a lot of usage being put because obviously the market only uses it 1 day a week, and the car boot sale doesn't use it. So yeah, it's only really used once or twice a week at the most. And any effort to make them more used would obviously result in more of an income stream and an ability to offset the expenditure. So what ENSAs have recently written to us about might well be of great interest in preserving the Linneys and creating a more sustainable life for them.
Thank you. Please be aware the South Linneys are in a good condition and people use those. They're the ones next to the road between the two car parks. It's the North Linneys that have been the issue, and it's not vandalism that has made this happen. The wind, the storm we've had, lifted the tiles. The tiles are very old, and there's been an issue that the nails have rotted away. That whole roof was repaired about 20 years ago, taken off, and the original tiles fixed back on again. There is some discussion about the type of nails that were used, but for 20 years, all the tiles have stayed in place, with areas that have broken and repairs have been done. But what happened was that this wind lifted some of them that are up near the cafe, and they've actually been taken off and kept safe to be able to replace. And the bottom half of the Linneys are not used very much at all because, of course, they are behind that big wooden construction and people don't see them, but they are a listed building. Bill, could you explain about if we were to be replacing that roof? Because I see one of the officers has said he would be looking to the conservation team and where he's going to find some funding for it. Trevor Ford said that. Could you explain about whose responsibility it is to replace the roof if the roof has to be replaced?
Well, the responsibility falls on Dorset Council, unfortunately.
Right.
We have the the possession of those buildings, and they're only utilised, for by ENSAs for twice a week. So yeah, we have to repair all the buildings.
Right.
But the Linneys aren't listed. They're in a conservation area, but it's almost.
Right. Sorry, misinformation for you there. So they're in the conservation area as opposed to listed. Also, the last time they were mentioned was in 2019, where we talked about CCTV. I know the CCTV has been replaced, but also in 2019, we talked about doing some work to that roof. Was anything done then in 2019, when we spoke about it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, the roof, which is asbestos, there were initial thoughts that it couldn't be repaired, but in actual fact, Trevor, the building surveyor, found a contractor that was able to carry out repairs to asbestos roofs, and that was carried out. So that stopped the leaks. Well,
in the Linneys.
Sorry.
In the Linneys, in the North Linneys.
Sorry, no, I'm talking about the main covered market actually. So
I'm only talking about the Linneys because we talked in June 2019 about the Linneys as well.
I think the Linneys, as far as my memory serves me, that it's just been an ongoing saga with the Linneys, carrying out repairs for, obviously because of them perishing, but also because of sporadic vandalism. But it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's just been an ongoing issue. I didn't know that there was any particular report prepared on them.
Right, okay. Jill, Councillor Haynes, you've got your hand up.
I do, thank you, Molly.
You asked, you did RTS, sorry.
Some of the thing, I was questioning about whether it was in a conservation area or whether it was listed, and that was that's now been clarified. So it's in a conservation area, and it's really a question. Therefore, if it's in a conservation area and we can't knock them down to just turn them into car park area or create more space, then actually what can we do with them? And I think that's the conversation that we need to take outside of this meeting now, because there are all sorts of potentials that one could be looking at as you think about how you might grow a market or an artisan area, for example. And, you know, would they be suitable for people who, I don't know, did pottery and wanted to sell their pots from there or something like that? So it's that kind of thing we need to look at, but I don't think we can look at that now.
No, I think as well, this again is part of the discussion as we move forward through a task and finish group about where we're going to go with the market as well. I've got Karen Punchard.
Yeah, thank you, Molly. I was going to suggest if we might talk about this later in the next session, but I was going to suggest if there is a specific issue or concern about the Linneys, that we ask Bill, Graham and Adrian to prepare a report after having some discussions with NSORS about possible options for the future. Because obviously that hasn't been prepared now, so we can't really have a clear discussion on the subject without that work having been done. So, but you know, if members want us to go away and look at that, we certainly can.
Thank you very much. John Worth, Councillor Worth.
Thank you, Molly. Yeah, Jill's said everything I was about to say, so
thank you very much.
The discussion later, I think.
Yeah, okay. I think yes, and I think that's the place. Robin, Councillor Potter.
Yes, a bit of heresy. If they're not listed, I admit that they're in a conservation area, but they do not make much contribution to the conservation area. If they're not listed, can we even consider getting rid of them?
We can consider anything whatsoever, and then we'd add it into the mix of this discussion. Don't worry, it's not heresy. You're entitled to say exactly what you think. So we will add that to the discussion as well, Robin. Karen said any changes will require conservation consent, including the demolition would need the consent. And I think, of course, yeah, Robin's chairman of planning, and he was on planning at the district council as well. I think he probably said the words with trepidation, knowing what the future of looking at it will be. Thank you very much. Any more comments? Thank you. Thank you. It was worth actually airing this in the committee and having a bit of feeling of where we're going forward with this. And we no doubt will discuss this at our next meeting. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you again for the budget. And let's go forward with our fingers crossed for a brighter future for everybody. Somebody else, oh, Jill was just agreeing in the chat bar. Item 7, appointments to Car Boot Fund panel. For those of you who are not aware, you heard Kevin talking about the money that the car boot sales on Sunday are something that happened because as a council, many years ago, the joint committee used to run a car boot sale. Well, what they did was let charities book the space and they were able to run the car boot sales in turn and keep the money. It all got out of hand, and what has happened now, NSORS took over the running, took out their management fee, and then any profits came back to a fund which we give out to charities on application once a year. As you saw, this year there wasn't much income from it, which is to be expected again, and next year there won't be so much at all. But historically, the members of the committee were 2 from the town council reps and 2 from the Dorset Council reps, and generally, oh, we've already got a proposal here. I had Councillor Hosford first. Generally, the chairman and the vice chairman from each council representatives, they were two of the members, but Jill is actually nominating John Worth. I think is this instead of yourself, Jill?
It can be either or, Molly.
Pardon? Right, okay. Councillor Hosford.
Thank you, Chairman. I was going to propose yourself for the panel. You've done it for many years and your wealth of local knowledge and experience is absolutely invaluable. And I wanted to express my own interest. I have been on the panel in the past. I did step down to allow other people to have a turn, but I would very much like to have another chance to sit on it if anyone was prepared to nominate me.
I'll nominate you.
Yeah, I'll second.
Jill seconded, so you're here. John Worth from Dorset Council has been nominated. Did anybody second John, please?
Must be people here, they haven't all gone to sleep.
I'll second John.
I'll second
Thank
it.
That's lovely. John's now seconded as well.
Molly,
sorry.
I'll second you, or I'll propose you. No, Susie proposed you, I've seconded you.
Right.
And then you're Dorset Council, aren't you, Molly?
I'm the town council rep.
You're here as a town council.
So we need one other member from Dorset Council, ideally somebody who lives near Dorchester.
Are you sure you're a town council? Because I thought...
I'm positive I'm a town council.
I know you're a town councillor, because I didn't think you could be both, but hey ho.
No, I can't be a Dorset Council rep, but I can be a town council rep.
Okay. Well, it looks like I might have to be the other one then, doesn't it, short term?
I'll second that, Jill.
Thank you very much.
Jean, was that because you didn't want anybody to nominate you?
No,
I don't live near
supporting John.
Right. This way, Chairman, everybody who's been nominated has been proposed and seconded.
All in favour, please show. Or say.
Yes, in favour.
Yes.
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 Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. We're moving on to item 8. I'm sorry, I've lost track of who's going to speak to that.
I think
Graham.
that's yes,
Sorry.
Chair. That's
I
that's
didn't
me.
mean to forget you, Graham. I just couldn't bring your name to mind.
That's okay. I have that issue all of the time. Yes, thank you, Chair. This will be a really short update. Members may recall that at the last meeting in December, you were made aware that Dorchester Town Council had written to Dorset Council with a kind offer to help out, take on with some of the administrative and governance arrangements for the panel and its work. I just wanted to let the panel know that that isn't forgotten. And at the moment, the offer is being considered and looked at by legal colleagues as well, because of the history and the law that goes back many years for Dorchester markets, and the response will be made to Dorchester Town Council quite soon. So I just wanted to keep you in the picture about that work. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any comments from anybody? Thank you, noted. Thank you very much indeed. Item 9, future of Dorchester markets. This is Adrian Stewart.
Thank you, Chairman. For those who don't know me, I'm Adrian Stewart. I'm the Town Clerk at Dorchester Town Council. You're about to go into a briefing session, private briefing session for members to explore what the options are, longer term future for the markets in Dorchester. Before we do that, I thought it was worth outlining what we'll be talking about just so that those people who do watch the meeting know what the process is likely to be going forwards in terms of considering the future of the market. At number 1 there, I highlight that there are a number of markets operating under the control of the panel, and we've heard about the Wednesday market and the Sunday car boot sale today. We've heard from Grant at the Cornhill market about how things are happening there at the moment, and so when people think about market in Dorchester, they tend to think solely about Fairfield, but actually the panel has a wider role than that. But moving to Fairfield in particular, for some years the panel's been trying to work out where to go next. We've had a decline ongoing now for about 15 years. The market was at its peak in about 2005. Today the market's actually about 40% of the capacity that it was back in the early noughties. It's declined quite significantly. NSORs have made various approaches, and without knowing that they would do what they've done today, we've got yet another approach from them saying this is the direction we'd like to take the market in. And I think one of the issues the briefing session will cover is, that's an option that you might want to consider. About 2 or 3 years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago now, West Dorset was actually considering whether it wanted to make proposals to relocate the market from the Fairfield site across to Charles Street. It was doing that because it was looking at developing the Fairfield site at that stage. It didn't progress. It's dormant at the moment, but nonetheless, that's another option for the long-term future that members might wish to consider. From my own perspective, about 5 or 6 years ago, we actually paved the lower end of South Street, and that's opened up the potential for increased market stall usage in lower South Street. And Grant said earlier on from the Cornhill traders that he wished to have a conversation with members about that. To do that, you've got to recognise that the more market you put in South Street, the more risk you place the Fairfield Street at. So it's another option, but it's not an option that you should consider lightly. The key weakness there, and I say this very lamely for Mr. Calvert, the key weakness there is that the streets are narrow. It's not a space where some of the larger traders that operate from Fairfield can actually operate. So it does have that weakness. Nonetheless, it might be more consistent in the long-term future with some of the other things that Dorchester needs to be considering in a post-COVID difficult retail climate environment. The key thing about this is that plenty of people have got options for how the market should proceed, but we've never actually managed to ever get agreement between the operators, between the two councils, a view that traders would support, and they're an important part of any future trading. And so it's not easy to move forward with a clear plan for the market, because we've always struggled to actually get an agreement amongst all of the parties to achieve that. I also recognise that a number of the panel members have put their names forward without actually having a detailed, in-depth knowledge of what markets in Dorchester compose of, and therefore that's why we had a briefing session at the last formal meeting of the panel, and we've got another informal briefing session this afternoon. Whatever we talk about this afternoon has to then go through a formal process. So there would never be any decisions made behind closed doors. I think what you're going to be looking at is which of those options do you like? What more information do you actually need in order to be able to come to a few recommendations that the panel can consider? And those recommendations would then have to go off to the Town Council and the Dorset Council also to consider. So that's essentially what I wanted to say. I'm more than happy to answer any questions in open session on that, Chairman, but it was more about setting you up so that people who aren't able to join that informal briefing session actually know the kind of things we're going to be talking about. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adrian. I think as well, gives us opens up. I liked Grant's positivity, and I think as well, people keep saying I'm quite a half-full person, and I think that this is a good opportunity that's come about because of something dreadful, and I think we've got to take COVID-19 and then realise it's given us a bit of a breathing space and a time to reset. So, and I think for all of us who's involved with the market, it could be quite an exciting time to go forward and to maybe change or set the scene for a new offer, working with all our partners who are involved with it. And so a good way forward. Oh, Jill said very helpful, so thank you, Jill. Anybody would like to add anything before we go into a private session about it and further briefing? Thank you very much, Adrian. We don't have any other urgent items. Okay. No, nobody's putting their hands up.
No, Chairman.
No, David.
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm just going to give you 5-10 minutes, a comfort break, cup of tea, kettle, and then come back in on your second invitation. If you haven't or can't find or wonder where it is, can you just point that out to David so as people know where they're going?
Chairman, just during the course of this